Whatever,
Holy
bro.
shit. What a fight card. I can't even contain myself.
Man, it was so fun and so just like the stars aligned and just gave us exactly what the fuck the doctor ordered, right? Like with the unique scenario of it being the first ABC card. And I hadn't realized until they talked about it on the broadcast how this is the first they took like
Huge
a
deal.
20-year hiatus from all combat sports. Like
All
no,
fights. All
yeah, I
fights.
didn't realize that. And then
Hmm.
it's a huge deal that MMA crossed that barrier in not boxing.
De La Hoya, I believe, was the last guy to fight on ABC. I can't remember who he fought, but he fought in like an outdoor stadium. It was like a huge deal. And I
Wow.
remember because I watched it with my mom over the summer, and it was like his retirement fight. It was like a huge deal.
Oh,
But
okay.
I can't believe, like, I didn't realize until they said it either that that was the last time HBO hosted, or HBO, that ABC hosted fights. But, like,
Yeah, man.
dude, I couldn't be happier, too, because, like, I know that the undercard, the prelims, was on ESPN Plus, which is great for this card because it was all decisions in the prelims, which is rare. Um, so for people,
Yeah,
selling points, that's not going to sell too well. But then you get to this main card, and you just kick it off with two, three crazy finishes. Like that helps. That sells the brand very well.
yeah, definitely. And they weren't like overly weirdly fast finishes for the most part. But yeah, no, it was a great intro. Yeah, the prelims, honestly, after watching so many fights in the tiny little Apex cage, that's just it was glaring to me. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God, this is what happens whenever they're not in the Apex.
yeah. People that could move around succeeded. Like, and essentially, it was one of those things where, like, if you were a grappler, it was almost to your advantage to have the bigger cage. Oddly enough, in my opinion, because like you'd be able to get in like we'll get into it, but like Lee Jingliang, dude, or Kilburn, the first fight. I mean, we can jump
Yeah.
into it, but dude took 18,000 shots because he has so much more space. He's never pressed on the cage, you know?
Yeah, I think that Kilburn Lingo fight was like foreshadowing of things to come. Um, I'm rocking
Absolutely.
a claw with you this week, brother. Cheers. It's been a minute.
Mango?
Tangerine.
God, you're a tangerine warrior.
Oh man, but yeah. So I mean, honestly, even though the prelims weren't the greatest prelims, they got off to a banging fucking start with this. Jacob Kilburn plus 190 underdog versus Austin Lingo minus 230 favorite. Fighting at featherweight, and before the fight, I was like, damn, like how is Lingo like? I mean, like a 230. That's a pretty big favorite. Like there's
It's a
other
pretty
guys on
big favorite.
there's other guys on this card that were, that's a pretty big favorite. And but then he showed us exactly why. They're fighting at featherweight, and man, just Lingo's hands would just look dangerous.
Yeah, honestly, like I was really impressed. I think that between his last fight and this fight, bunch of improvements, like so much improvement.
Yeah, yeah, and his hands just look like heavy and accurate, and that's what you want your hands to be, and pretty decently fast. Not like crazy fast, but I mean faster than Kilburn wanted him to be. That's for sure. I mean, I gave Lingo all 3 rounds. I think all the judges gave Lingo all 3 rounds. I
Yeah,
gotta say,
uh,
Kilburn's
two of them gave him a
chin though, I
10-8
gotta
in that
shout it
first.
out. Oh, two of them gave him a
Oh,
10-8.
dude.
Deservedly so. I mean, he was just teeing off.
Yeah. In that first round, man. I mean, he was just getting sauced on, and then it just kind of continued for the rest of the fight. But like you're saying, shout out to Kilburn's chin, bro. Like I literally have in my notes, I was just like, Kilburn has a fantastic chin. We saw two guys in this fight card that have unreal chin.
Yeah, 2021 Chin of the Year Prime Cuts is
Dude,
already got.
Calvin Cater's got his name on the top five. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed.
Definitely, man. There's definitely some chins on display. Yeah, literally, that's just pretty much my notes. Are just like Lingo hurting Kilburn, Kilburn eating shots, Kilburn's chin. Like it was a banger, a one-sided banger. Like I said, kind of foreshadowing of things to come.
I will say that by the third round, Lingo had pretty much used his gas tank up, though,
Yeah,
and it was a lot closer third round. Like Kilburn actually seemed to be able to throw shots and land them in the third, which he hadn't been able to do the whole rest of the match. Still couldn't get a takedown. I believe he finished 1 of 18 officially on his takedowns, and Lingo was 1 of 2.
man. Yeah, Kilburn's cardio and chin, like the kind of like the intangibles are there. He just needs to kind of get like some technique, some offense. But I mean, he has some of the things that are hard to coach as far as cardio and as far as And as far
Yeah.
as chin and heart and desire, and I mean, he has a lot of the intangibles, but he just didn't seem to present much of a threat.
No, like you're saying, like if he just sharpens his technical skills, like he'll be fine. He'll be
Yeah,
fine, man. Like
yeah,
he has the warrior spirit for sure, and like
yeah,
clearly is in good cardio, can make the weight without any problems. He was teasing you might go to bantam.
yeah. I saw that. I mean, might be the
Maybe
move.
if you can make it and you're not killing yourself to do it,
If
go
he
ahead.
was eating those shots, I think he's
Right,
pretty safe
right.
in there with most bantamweights for sure. The
Like
chin would
like
be impeccable at bantamweight.
yeah, like Cody Garbrandt and maybe Marlon Moraes, the only guys, Sandhagen, maybe the only guys that would be actual threats with a chin that good.
Yeah, his chin was impressive for sure, man. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing. Wingo, covers as the favorite. Gets the unanimous decision. Like I said, I'm pretty sure all three judges had it 30-27. We both had it 30-26. A couple of judges had it, right?
Yeah, two of them 30-26. I had it 30-27. I didn't think that it wasn't 10-8 enough for me. I will say Greg Hardy or Daniel Cormier had a quote in this.
Yes, I know exactly.
That's about as 10-8 as it
I
gets.
love it. I'm glad you brought it up because if you didn't, I was going to. Because
I wrote it down.
that was great. That was great. That honestly
Uh,
reminded me of some shit one of us would say. To be
That's
real.
what we say all the time. I
Yeah.
feel like whenever we go back and forth on why it was a 10-8 or why it wasn't, we always say, like, well, if this was a 10-8, then this sure as shit was a 10-8, and
Yeah.
it had to be. So, like, that's literally us being like, well, that's as 10-8 as it can get.
No, for sure, man. That resonated with me for sure, man. I was like, God
Yeah.
damn it, man. He's gonna get all the credit. Yeah. But man,
Yeah, for real.
this next fight was dope, and I guess it was a little controversial, or I don't know. We'll get into it. It was the first women's fight of the night. We had Sarah Morris, minus 230 favorite, fighting Vanessa Mello. Dope name, by the way, Vanessa Mello.
Yeah,
And
honestly,
then,
bro.
plus 190 underdog, and fighting at women's bantamweight. And man, Mello looked great all night. I think Morris thought more highly of herself than what she was putting on display, in my opinion.
Dude, that Kia thing, I can't handle that Kia shit. She was doing it whenever she was getting shots thrown at her, too. Like, she would dodge and be like, yeah! And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And then Dan Hardy tried to, like, explain it. He was like, it's Tai Chi. You like, exert the air out of your body, and it strengthens the force when you land. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up.
DC was like, he was like, this guy's a piece of work or something like that.
It was like Dan Hardy studying all the traditional martial arts.
Oh man, but yeah, man. So I think Mello ends up getting the decision, but I think two judges had it 28-29, and I mean, I gave all three rounds to Mello. How did you score? Because this fight isn't so much about who won; it's just kind of like how we saw it, right? I mean,
so. I actually did score it 29-28.
Yeah, and I remember you tweeting that, and that's why I wanted to discuss this with you for sure. That's because I thought Morris. This is one of those fights, and we talked about this on the pod before. How like certain fights, every round has a life of its own, and then certain fights, just the same themes continue throughout all rounds. And then, I mean, to me, all these rounds were like essentially identical, and like as far as how they played out. So I don't understand how you could score it any differently. But maybe I'm just tripping.
So in the first, I felt like she was on her bike more, and it made it look like Mello was chasing. And then I felt like Moraes was doing a good job to dodge the shots because her head speed was still up. She wasn't tired at all. But then, like, the second round, that literally she tried to do the exact same thing, didn't have the same energy level, couldn't dodge those shots, got clipped with that huge left hook. So, like, her strategy... And I wrote that their styles were making it a super low activity fight.
Yeah.
Because Mello just wants to stalk forward, and Moraes, she wants to grapple, but when someone stalks forward at her, she only knows to, I guess, get on her bike and go backwards. It was really weird, man. Like, for Morris to be a grappler and not try to grapple at all with Mello was like, what are we doing here? And honestly, once I saw the second and third, it made me rethink how I scored the first, because I thought that was strategically a style, right? I don't think it was after watching the second and third. Right, yeah, she was running. Right. Like, I thought she was trying to, like, counter-strike, bait her in, was going to start throwing some hard shots, and she was kind of trying in the first and wasn't eating too much damage, so that's why I gave it to her. But it was made very clear in the second and third that really wasn't what was happening. So, honestly, in hindsight, I could see 10-9 for Mello in the first, no problem. Like, I have no problem with that after now knowing that wasn't really Morris' strategy at all. It was just the implementation of Melo chasing her down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and shout out to all our live viewers. Shout out G Baby. We always appreciate you guys tuning in live on our Instagram. But yeah, so yeah, exactly what you said. Like I saw all 3 rounds was Morris running and Melo controlling the ring because in a fight with not a lot of activity, you kind of go to these secondary judging tactics such as ring control and who's moving forward. And yeah, to me, like I said, I came across to me that Morris was running. And like I said, if she was running and if she was landing a jab every time she let out a Kia, then yeah, she would have won this fight. But she was just, I think she had like 200 missed strikes or something. There was some crazy number of like whiffs that she was just like.
She had one of the lowest like land percentages, I'm pretty sure, of any fight in the last like 18 months or some shit like that.
Yeah, bro. Like she wasn't doing shit, and she was backpedaling the whole time. But you're right. In the second and third round, Melo did a much better job of cutting her off as opposed to just chasing the circle. And
I think DC's talked about that live on the broadcast too. It's a great point you bring up because she was, like I said, the first round, man, she was chasing her. Like, you know, the octagon's an infinite circle if you chase.
Yes.
But then, like you're saying, she started to cut those angles, and it really became her fight at that point.
Yeah, and Melo was landing some stiff rights, like on the end of combos, because she was the shorter fighter, so she would maybe whip a couple times just getting in, but then she would always finish with like a stiff right, or right, usually right on the nose. And Morris started to show damage in the second. She was bleeding. And then and then at the end of the fight, so they get to the end and it's a decision that they go the distance. And then they raise Melo's hand and Morris like drops her jaw and like looks all dramatic and shocked. And I was literally rolling my eyes. I looked at my wife. I literally rolled my eyes. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like literally, like her nose was all busted up. She literally didn't do shit. She backpedaled.
She just didn't do anything for 15 minutes. Like I can't understand where she was upset for like. It's like, Morris, you really didn't, like, do anything. Like, for all the strikes she threw, did she think she landed them? Because you don't just get a win for throwing strikes. You have to land strikes.
Maybe she thinks she gets one for throwing a Kia, but yeah,
participation medals are real, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Morris, man, I had no problem with the decision. Like I said, I actually leaned further in. I gave it 30-27, no problem to Melo. I wasn't a fan of anything really Morris showed us. But, you know, she's beaten good fighters in the past. Like Morris beat Joshua, and she's beaten people.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, but Melo was just a fucking dog. I mean, there wasn't a ton of like intricacy or strategy. She just came forward and hit hard and caused damage, and I kind of fucked with it. It was pretty bad.
I genuinely feel like the styles were like a big part of this fight because like I don't think Morris's style is any use or any effectiveness against Melo's, and I think Melo's style is exactly what takes Morris down. Is just that like person that's just a straight and like wolf to the kill. You know what I mean? Like, I think Morris wants someone that's going to play the game, whereas Melo's like, I just want to come and swing on your face.
Yeah, no, there's certain fighters, and it happens in men's and women's and all divisions, but, like, there's certain fighters that are there to kind of essentially point fight and maybe go the distance and test cardio and land shots.
Wonderboy Thompson, Volkanovski. Like, there's guys at very high levels that still do that.
And then there's certain fighters that are just, like, there to just make it nasty and ugly and
Buckley.
Buckley's an example, but I mean, even guys I think like Poirier loves to make it nasty and crazy. Like even high level guys like that. Like I mean, and it's not necessarily a knock. Like it can take you far, but I don't know. There's just certain different people have different approaches, and that's what makes it so fun of having mixed martial arts. There's all different kinds of personalities and strategies and styles, and but that's exactly what we had. We had somebody who's like, "Oh, I'm like this is a fight. I'm trying to hurt you," versus like. I like doing precision martial arts, and it's like that can work, but
that can work. Like if you're like Israel Adesanya, you know, and you come in with this real game plan and real technique and real skills, then it always can work. But when you come in like Morris and it's just like kind of paper, like that felt like a paper strategy, bro. Did it not?
Yeah, no, I totally feel you, bro. But yeah, let's keep it pushing, man. Because this next fight has some young bulls in it, and
some controversy behind it. We had double split decisions coming up.
Yeah, which is cool. As I was actually happy they were split because then
they were good fights too, man. Like they were really good fights. I was not upset with either of them being splits.
Because sometimes we die on that hill of like,
I'm lying. I was very upset with the second one being split because of the way it was split.
Yeah, no.
But let's get to the first one. You want to go ahead and introduce him?
Yes, sir. We got David Zawada. Plus 220 underdog. I think he's from Germany. and fighting Ramazan and Ameev minus 270 favorite, and fighting at welterweight. And there were some thick welterweights or some big welterweights. Ameev was kind of tall and
Embiid was tall. Zawada was thick,
thick,
bro.
yeah.
So, like you said, Embiid was a pretty big favorite, minus 270. I thought Zawada looked really, really good in the first round. Just being active in the clinch is what I mean with that. Like, I didn't expect, and I should have thought about it being Muay Thai, but I thought, oh, he'll avoid any kind of grappling with Embiid. But when they were like locked up on the fence, I thought Zawada was getting like really good shots off. His problem was he kept throwing knees, and every time he threw a knee, Embiid was like, oh, well, thanks for having one leg on the ground. You're going down.
Yeah, and to me, the story of this fight was Zawada kind of being a slow starter, but building as the fight went on. Like the first round was Zawada's worst round. The second round, he started to kind of do a couple things, have his moments, but I think he still lost the round. And then in the third round, he kind of came alive, and I actually gave him round 3. But yeah, we'll go round by round.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I think we might have scored this the same, but let's get into it.
Yeah, because in round 1, Ameev had the takedown, and then he was landing some pretty heavy strikes, and like we both agreed, Zawada, just kind of hung in there round 1. Didn't like it wasn't horrible, like it definitely wasn't a 10-8. Like it was a decently close round, but I think it's fair to say Ameev, with the takedown and some of the heavy strikes that he landed, I think it's fair to give him that round. And
I think what's important to note here too, just as the fight's going on, Zawada's putting a lot of leg kick damage on Ameev.
Yes.
I didn't value that in the first, but it showed in the second.
Yeah, heavy bruising. Essentially affected the strategy. That's whenever Ameev started to want to grapple more, and because that's what those leg kicks do. It kind of just speeds up presses the issue on whatever strategy you're going to implement. You got to figure it out. Like you're not going to have too much time of just picking and choosing. It kind of
And that's kind of the strategy against Khabib. You've seen guys try to do lately, like Gaethje, he was landing some hard shots on Khabib's leg. That's why Khabib was just pressing those takedowns, because I don't think he liked those leg kicks.
Yeah. I mean, nobody does, right? And then in round 2, like we said, it was closer. Zawada fought better in round 2, but I thought just that grapple control and that clinch control that Ameev had in round 2, I thought it was enough to kind of give him the round.
I wrote close in all caps, but I'm still leaning to Ameev. So me and you both had it 2018 going into the third.
Yeah.
However, I could see a judge giving the second over. It's tough. That's a stretch, but I could see it.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It wasn't a dominant round. It was a close round for sure. And then round 3, it was essentially too little, too late. I thought Zawada looked great in round 3. If he would have fought
he could grapple with him. He could grapple with him. I don't know why he didn't do more grappling with him. Because he took his back, reversed him, got to take it on his own. I was like, okay, Zawada, you can grapple. What are you hiding from him for?
I think it was just a slow start, man. I think it was just the classic story of the old slow start. And I'm not trying to make excuses. Ameev fought great. I mean, I'm not really trying to take anything away from it, but I think that if Zawada would have fought all 3 rounds like he fought round 3, and maybe it was Ameev's cardio, or maybe Ameev thought he had the 2 rounds in the book and just thought he was just would kind of coast it out and get the decision. I don't know what exactly went down in these fighters' heads, but I'm just saying if round 3, if Zawada would have fought all 3 rounds like he fought round 3, I think we have a much different fight on our hands. But like I said, I think the kind of moral of the story is too little, too late from Zawada in round 3, and it said it ends up being a split decision. So, like you said, one of those judges had to give Zawada round 2. And like I said, it's not egregious. I'm not gonna definitely not die on that.
Not a hill I'd die on. Yeah.
No. But I mean, the right man, in my opinion, won the fight. Ramazan and Ameev. He gets the fight. And people seem to be pretty hyped on him. I think Anik was calling for a top 15, top 20 matchup next.
We'll see. I mean, I think he's right on that edge. Welterweight's deep as hell, man.
Deep as hell, and it just wasn't it wasn't a dominant win. You can't say it was dominant. That was a close fight.
To be minus 270, that wasn't what people expected you to do.
That's what I'm saying. But it seemed like, I don't know, it seems like this is a guy the UFC is kind of trying to build up, and I mean, he won and he beat a good fighter. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It might be a kind of a false hype train on Ameev. I'm definitely not buying a ticket yet.
You know what, man? I think that's one of the things I like most about fighting, though, is that it's not decisions are scored, obviously, but when you watch Alabama win a close game by 5 against a team they just didn't get up for, You go into the next week and you're like, I don't know. But with fighting, you just look at it on the record and you're like, well, he won his last fight. It was close, but he pulled it out. Like the way you look at wins is so different in retrospect in fighting. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's more real to the factor of fighting.
No, it's true. That's a very good point. Very good point. And after this fight, because this is like the third decision in a row, I literally wrote in my notes, big cage equals decisions.
Yeah, decision city, baby, decision city.
It was just obvious, but it's weird because I keep saying big cage. This is the normal size cage. The other one's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah,
but we watched like literally how many, like 18 cards in a row, 18 weeks straight of essentially of small octagon fights, and I just got like accustomed to it. Like, I don't know, it's like I'm sure Yankees fans, if they go to like a road game, think that like the road arenas, like our road stadiums, are huge because they play in that little Cracker Jack box out there.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I don't know. I got used to the Apex, and I got used to just bangers, and I got used to like not like running's not an option.
Right, yeah, like even if you have great footwork, like you're still eating shots because it's just a smaller cage.
Yeah, which honestly makes what happens in the main event that much more special. But we'll get to that.
Absolutely.
Because the next fight we definitely need to spend some time on, because we both feel the exact same way, and we both feel differently than the judges. So that's always fun to get into,
Yeah, I mean the Beefy Boys coming in hot. Carlos Felipe, however you say it. Felipe Cabral is his actual name. Carlos Felipe Cabral.
Yeah,
Something
on his shorts,
Cabral, maybe.
because he's known as like Carlos Felipe. I've watched, this is what, our fourth or fifth fight watching him, and then it says Carlos Felipe every time, but then his shorts said something else, and I was like, what? But,
yeah, Cabral's his real last name. I don't know why they don't put that.
The Brazilian naming structure is so different. It's almost like the Chinese naming structure. Like that comes up later on too. But
we'll get to that in the next fight.
It's just different. Like the whole concept of first and last name. Not everybody has like the same view as like Americans and Europeans. But yeah, Carlos Felipe, we'll call him that because that's what it says whenever you go to place your bet. So we don't want to get anybody confused on the money tip.
He was the -200 favorite. He's fighting Justin Tafa, who was +170. Tafa had said that his last fight against Yorgan De Castro that he lost, he went from fighting in bars with like 500 people to like in arenas, and he was like, that was just a big change. I wasn't really ready for like the moment.
Yeah, the lights were too bright. Yeah, he self-admitted that, and it was crazy. Whenever he was coming out, I was like, damn, this Mark Hunt looking motherfucker. And then
dude,
it comes
with the
out,
belly button tat, dude.
with the belly button tat. Like anybody that has tattoos, like I have quite a few myself. Like that's just like an insane psycho thing to do.
Savage.
That sounds so terrible. Like I literally like curled up whenever I saw that. I was like, oh, that would suck.
Do you know what Hardy was alluding to whenever he was talking about the tattoo and how Tai Tuivasa told him about what those Maori tattoos are?
He just said it was like pretty invasive. Does it go like all the way to the gig, or what's going on there? That's what it kind of made it sound like.
It wraps your entire. I mean, as much as you do, but like when you do your butt, like inside the cheeks, like all of it, like it's your entirety of your body.
Oh man, that's gnarly. So I guess at that point the belly button is like the least of your like that. That's a walk in the park compared to butthole ink. I feel you, man.
Dude,
that's
like that. Oh,
that's crazy. But I was saying like he's like, oh, this guy's giving me Mark Hunt vibes, and then they start talking about like he knows Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt got him started in MMA. I was like, oh, that's so dope. And yeah, honestly, like I was really looking forward to this fight. And it delivered. It was a great fight. Because Felipe is one of these guys. The first time we watched him fight, and he lost, and then like we were kind of clowning him. He was like real fat and kind of goofy and how to say it. But then he came back with like 2 like knockout wins in a row, and we're like, damn.
Beat Yorgan De Castro, looked really good doing it.
Yeah, we're like, do we have to take this guy seriously? And then and then we'll get into this, man. But so round 1, Tafa, you had Tafa winning 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he was controlling the pace and landing some nice leg kicks.
Yeah, he was definitely he was controlling the pace. He was the more active fighter, and it's like it wasn't just volume. It was like he was landing quality shots and like causing damage for sure. I definitely gave round 1 to Tafa. Round 2, I have all caps, beefy banger. They were fucking throwing. It was badass. I guess it's what everybody envisions in their head of a heavyweight fight, like what they want it to be. Round 2 of this fight was that.
And Tafa got hurt at the end of that round too. Felipe
Yeah.
landed a nice couple shots,
Yeah.
and that's actually why I scored that round for Felipe,
Yeah. Well,
because I thought it was super even, except for he got closer to finishing than Tafa.
I'll be real. This is one I had to bounce back and rely on the numbers on because like, when I watched it with just my eyes watching it live, I was like, God damn, that's so close. Who do I give that round to? And then I looked at the numbers, and Felipe like almost doubled him on numbers in round 2. It was crazy. It was one of those things where like the eye
Really?
test didn't really tell the full story of the numbers, and so
So
just
Felipe definitely won that
yeah,
round.
so I gave round 2 to Felipe based on the numbers because watching it live, it didn't register that Felipe won. But you go back and look at the numbers round 2, and he like essentially kind of had it by a long shot.
That surprises me. I like you're saying, I definitely didn't see that eye
Yeah,
test wise.
eye test
I'm
wise,
glad you looked up those numbers
yeah,
because I had no idea.
I was at a stalemate in my head for sure. And then round 3, so round 3, Tafa had a lot of clinch control time. And he was
Mm-hmm.
landing insanely huge bombs to the body, like
Yes.
rippling effect, like just
Dude, but like hilariously, Felipe would like pat his body sometimes, be like,
yeah. Oh
it
yeah,
was so great.
Felipe.
It was
I
so
mean, he
great.
was eating shots and talking shit, and like
They call him the Brazilian Diaz brother heavyweight.
that's hilarious. I mean, he's a wild man. He's a wild man, and who doesn't love a heavyweight that's a wild man? Like, he's not afraid to get hit. He loves to stand and bang. I mean, he's style like if you're gonna just like go watch a heavyweight fight, like I would definitely sign up
Dude,
to watch a Carlos Felipe fight.
they were doing something I've never seen guys in a fight do before. They were literally putting their foreheads
Forehead to
together
forehead.
and literally trading shots like they were standing in a phone booth.
It's
Like
like that
that's
drill when you put one
definition.
foot in the tire. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like
Like in wrestling, that's how you usually wrestles, forehead to forehead as a heavyweight, right? So that's crazy to think that like grappling, that's usually how a grappling match is done, and they're striking each other in the face and body.
in body, huge body shots. But yeah, man. But like I said, I gave round 3 to Tafa. I thought the
I
clinch,
did too.
like what he did in the clinch, I thought was it was just different, right? Because most of this fight didn't take place in the clinch, so it's like he sprinkled that in the end, and it showed me something. It showed me not only like want to and like even like strategy and fight IQ, but he was dominating those clinch positions, and Felipe hadn't been able to dominate any clinch positions really against Tafa. So I don't know. I kind of factored that clinch time in heavily in my third round, and I gave round 3 to Tafa.
I did too, man. I did too. And honestly, the ending, when they replayed the slow mo, he's just picking apart Felipe and then dodging those shots. Like at the end where they just started trading for like the last 15
Yeah,
seconds. When
that
there's
was
about 20 seconds to
crazy.
go.
They were like, "Meet me right."
Yeah. Yeah. And
And they
heavyweight, that's like,
did.
bro, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Like 135ers can do that because there's a good chance you don't get put to sleep. Heavyweight, exact opposite percentages. Like good chance you do get put to sleep doing that.
no, it was crazy. They threw caution to the wind. Like I said, they put on a motherfucking show. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained. Are you not entertained? I was fucking entertained. And it was a badass fight. It's a shame because I think Tafa, it had been like over a year since he fought, and I don't know. And the UFC is definitely, I think, trying to build Felipe. It was like whenever Felipe got that split, because it was a split decision, and we like to have a kind of a beefy breakdown rule where we try not to get too upset over a split decision because the nature of this split decision was that it was razor thin and somebody had to win. But I don't know. I thought Tafa clearly won 2 rounds out of 3.
Me too.
But I don't know. I mean, Felipe, I mean, he definitely was game and he was definitely coming forward. And I don't know. Like I said, I thought he lost those clinch positions. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird hill to die on. But I thought Tafa won and he would have cashed as an underdog. But and like I said, I feel like the UFC maybe they're trying to build Felipe, not trying to play a 2 tinfoil hat. I don't know. But
I'm with you.
I thought Tafa looked good. I thought Tafa looked real good.
I think they're trying to build old Felipe because they need Brazilian heavyweights to sell that Brazil market, and they only have Augusto Sakai, who's coming off a loss in his last fight. So looking to build that Brazilian heavyweight market.
Oh, tinfoil hat. I feel it, man. I don't know, because mind you, we're not alone. Like I'm pretty sure, like Twitter, like MMA Twitter was like pretty salty about that decision. Like I mean, like I said, it was a split, but
Right. Well, we can move on from it just because, like we said, it is a split, so no reason to really die on a hill for it. just, I mean, we both disagree, but whatever.
Yeah,
Moving
yeah.
forward, I think both guys' stock is up either way.
Yeah, no, they
Um,
definitely put on a hell of a show.
so the next fight, we have a female fight at 135 between Wu Yanan and Jocelyn Edwards. Wu Yanan minus 115, Jocelyn Edwards minus 105. So essentially a pick 'em here. This was bet all the way down. Wu Yanan opened at minus 190, bet all the way down to minus 115.
Wow, I didn't. I
So this
wasn't
was
aware of that. That's some
Yeah,
good
this was
info.
one where there was huge, huge value on Jocelyn Edwards, just because no one knew who she was. Panama fights in like the South American League that no one pays any attention to, and
Apparently, she has
Yunan's
some nice like hype though, like coming in. I mean, for to be the featured prelim on your debut, I mean,
true.
she had a hot name coming in.
Yeah, and they did get upgraded to that after the what fight got scratched from the card as soon as the day started. Phil
Oh,
Hawes and Nasruddin Imavov.
that's right. That's
That
right.
was our featured prelim, which I'm salty. How does Phil Hawes get a leg injury day of the
the
fight?
day before, because like in 2021 COVID world, I was just like, I assumed it was a COVID test, but no, he hurt his leg, and like
And it was scheduled until the card started. Like they announced it. John Anik announced it 20 minutes into the card. The Phil Hawes Nasruddin Imavov fight has been scratched due to a Phil Hawes leg injury. He might have hurt his shit warming up.
maybe, yeah, fucking stepped off a curb and rolled the ankle to some free. I don't know. I mean, I hope he's all right, but that fucking sucked. I feel you. I was definitely looking forward to that fight as well. But yeah, this fight, I thought this fight was a pretty damn entertaining fight to watch. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a
I,
close
I
fight.
loved this fight. I loved this fight. For the first women's fight to be as boring as it was, this women's fight was like what I like about women's fighting, that their fights can be this way.
Yeah,
Because it was...
oh, bless you, my
Sorry
God.
about that.
No worries.
Sorry about that. But it was like all parts of a fight, you know?
So how'd you see round one?
So I thought that Edwards won the round just because she had the armbar locked and set for pretty much 3 minutes, you know? So that's 3 minutes of being in a position where you're a half a second away from ending the fight.
Me too. Okay, I'm glad you saw it that way, because I mean it could be seen as controversial because you're exactly right. She was threatening in armbar position for much of that round, but she was on her back, and some people just like I even heard Chael Sonnen talking about it the other day of like it's hard to give somebody around them when they're on their back for most of it, and but so I guess maybe it's controversial, but I saw it the exact same way you saw it, and I gave round one to Edwards because Wu was in more danger. Then Edwards was never really in danger. Yeah, and Wu was in a lot of danger. Exactly. So, like the danger factor, like you said, very close to ending the fight. I saw it the same way as you. Round one to Edwards, and then round two, Edwards. I thought that was her best round. I mean, I thought she clearly won. She really got that striking going and was tagging her up.
When she fell and then hit the double up kick from her back after falling, that was the coolest thing I'd seen in a long time. Just like, because you could tell that the fall was completely accidental, but the reaction was so sick.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was just like reacting on the fly, making chicken salad out of chicken shit, as I like to say. And because I think she slipped, right, but she like bounced up like kind of Jackie Chan style, and like
just boom,
like
double
a double
up.
up kick, and like DC was like, that was like a WWE drop kick. It was crazy. Yeah, you don't see that every day. It really was. It was wild. Yeah, round two was a great round for Edwards. And then round three was close. And I thought it was Wu's best round, or Wu Yanan. I don't know the whole Chinese naming structure. It confuses me, but
me too.
We'll say Wu. Wu's best. I thought it was the best round, but I honestly don't know if it was enough. Did you give round three to Wu? I don't know. It was.
I did.
Round. You did? Okay.
I did. I wrote it was super close. I just thought that she was a little more conditioned and kind of pushed that pace a little more. And even though it was so close, felt like she, like I said, just kind of pushed the fight.
Yeah, it was her best round. It was her best round of the fight. I have no problem. I kind of couldn't make up my mind. I have no problem at all giving round three to Wu. Yeah, so and that says something, especially about your cardio and your how game you are. And I mean, if you lost round one and two and the third round's your best round, I always respect that. Like that's the definition of going down swinging.
Now, I will say two of the judges gave it 30-27, all 3 rounds to Jocelyn Edwards, which I don't have a problem with either.
It was close. It was really close.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So S. Edwards in her debut gets the unanimous decision as the underdog.
I was surprised these women were bantamweights. They didn't look that, like, thick, you know? Like, they looked really well, like, their weight was super well distributed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Edwards was definitely strong and athletic for sure, and
Yeah,
muscle weighs more than fat. So I mean, but I feel you. Wu looked like a small bantamweight for sure. I mean, they both. I
yeah.
feel you on the eyes. Usually, bantamweight women, it looks like very
Like
clearly
Amanda
bantamweight.
Nunes, like
Yeah,
you know,
like
she's
thick
she's like
back.
stacked.
Yeah,
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 right.
yeah. I feel you. I noticed that too. Like maybe possible these two could maybe cut the flyweight, but I mean,
If they could, I
it'd be
mean,
a
that's a
factor.
pretty loose division.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. How that division's like wide open, except for obviously the belt. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and the
yeah,
belt is defended by. I mean, that's the thing though. Is like you go to that division, you think you can get the belt. You think like Nunes and
you can
Shevchenko
climb
are
to
all.
top five fast as fuck.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
Man,
That's a good
but
point.
yeah, man, and that ends the prelims. Like I said, we ran through those a little faster than usual, but they weren't the greatest prelims. So and the main card was phenomenal. So
Five decisions. You know,
yeah,
we don't want to bore you with decision.
yeah, man. So we'll keep it pushing to the main card because this is where the fireworks are. It's where we had star power, we had finishes, we had young prospects. I mean, we had like a lot of the boxes you want a main card to check. Just check them.
Yeah, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
and yeah, man, we'll start it off with some middleweights, some thick middleweights. We got some both undefeated youngins coming up. Punahele Soriano was a plus 135 underdog, and he was fighting Dusko Todorovic, who's 10-0 and was a minus 160 favorite. Punahele was 7-0 coming into this one. And
Someone's O has got to go.
someone's always got to go, and it did. And then you know what? I had so all leading up to this fight, I was kind of feeling pretty good about Todorovic. I even on our preview, I had made that I said that. But then right before the fight, they were I watched one of the fighter interviews, and Todorovic, he was saying like his O was more important to him than the belt, and he was just like overemphasizing the O. He's like, yeah, I mean the belt would be cool, but I'm not if I don't get there with the O. And like he was just like overemphasizing, which every fighter tells you not to do, right? Like every
Yeah,
fight,
what?
like
That's
like
really focusing on your loss.
yeah,
Like
no,
it's
and
like you should focus on the win,
yeah,
which
exactly, and when I heard that, and it was like I said, it was like the pre-fight little hype thing right before commercial or whatever, and he was just talking about that. It made me lose all faith at that moment, and like I was like, oh,
damn,
Soriano.
I would have bet the bank on Soriano knowing that.
No, if I exactly, I didn't watch that. Like I watched that shit like right before the fight, and I was like, oh, that's bad. Like his head's in the wrong place, and like
Dude,
Soriano was like super loose and chill.
think about that from a sports psychology perspective of
Oh, I
like
know.
you're more focused on on not losing than winning.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
missed like the wrong goal, wrong focus. Exactly. Yeah, that's just not good. That's like it goes against like all like conventional fight wisdom of like
Like, but even think about football. Have you ever gone into a week thinking like, man, I just hope we don't lose this week? What the fuck?
yeah, it's the wrong way to look at it. Like I said, whenever I heard him say that, I essentially knew it was going to go down like this for real. And I know it seems like kind of hindsight 2020, and like nobody's there like verify that, but like I was like, oh shit, that is like not what I want to hear from Todorovic. And yeah, and so like kind of gave it away, but the short fight, Puno Haley looked like a motherfucking monster, thick middleweight. Just like back, like just built like a square or a triangle. His back was like this fucking wide, fucking jacked. And yeah, he got the round one TKO and just dropped him with unreal power. I mean,
Dude, he clipped him a few times. Like Todorovic was insane to take that many shots. Like he was. Also, did you see how like dead he was at the beginning of the fight? Like he was like didn't seem like he had much energy. His guard was low. Like he seemed weird.
yeah. Maybe the weight cut didn't go great, or maybe like it seemed like that was kind of just like his style of fighting. Like some guys like to say, super level-headed and calm, or I don't know. But like just as far as talking X's and O's of the fight, because the fight itself was pretty short, first round TKO. But usually your hands are part of your defense, like whether it's deflecting or putting a high guard or
Yeah.
but Dusko Todorovic's defense was 100% based on head movement. He put like all of his eggs in that basket. Like he had his hands down here. Like I don't know if maybe he had like I don't know maybe he had a rib injury wanted to protect. I have no idea because his hands were super low and he was just trying to like head movement like
Like
matrix
yeah, like
dodge.
lean off shots, and it's like, bro, what are you doing?
And it was working. He had a few nice ones, like a few nice dodges at first, but then and it was funny. Like I forget which one of the commentators said it, but somebody on the broadcast says like this works until it doesn't work, and then that's I think it was DC. That sounds like a DC thing to say,
Yeah, yeah, it
but
does.
and that was the story of this fight. Like he dodged a couple, and then he ate a couple, and that's all. And that's pretty much all she wrote.
I mean, he got dropped 3 times
Yeah.
before Herb Dean called it. Like,
Herb Dean had a loose trigger last night, which I'm
yeah,
not
which
mad at. I kind of
yeah,
miss.
like
That's
let's rock with it, Herb. That's old school Herb.
yeah, it was old school Herb. It was because we've talked about it a lot on
Like
the
he acts like
podcast.
he's not from like the 2014 days, whenever they used to watch guys literally get put to sleep. Like, come on, Herb Dean, don't act like you're above that.
Yeah, no, and like I said, we've talked about it a lot on the podcast. How like you watch old fights and the trigger has gotten quick. Like it's kind of like the
Yeah.
NFL with the targeting, and it's gotten very quick. But yeah, Herb Dean just put it in throwback mode last night, which I wasn't really mad at. I don't know how happy ABC was about it, but yeah, Todorovic got dropped multiple times. He said, I mean, kudos to him. We saw toughness, balls, and chin on full display last night from the first fight to Todorovic, and then all the way to the main event.
Bro, and the dogs were barking on this main card to start,
Very
as
good
Johnny
point.
Haig would say.
Very good point. Yeah, but yeah,
So
Haley.
Punahele, caps it off with, like you said, that TKO at plus 135. So, I mean, pretty good bet to have taken. Especially, I mean, never hard to bet on an undefeated fighter, in my opinion.
It was funny because so he works at some store in Vegas. He has like a day job. And his boss was there like while he was getting interviewed. And like I literally I don't know how, but he was like one of the few fans allowed in the stands, and his boss was there. And he said something about how like they were asking him like if you get this bonus are you gonna quit your job, and he like pointed to his boss. He's like no I like my job, like I did like that. He's like and I don't know, he seemed like the chillest, most normal guy, and then yeah, he's easy guy to root for sure. I mean and I mean goddamn, he had a long layoff I believe, or no, was that his debut, or it just has been a while, or
Been a while. Been a while. I think like 15 months or something like that. Been a long time.
yeah. And Dusko, I mean 10-0. I mean he was looking like a
10 and
beast.
1.
Yeah, he's 10-1 now, and I mean that was a nice win for Soriano. I think Soriano's stock just fucking soared up last night. He did a lot to help himself.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this: he did not get one of the performance bonuses. Do you think that's fair, or do you think Dana hooked him up on the back end?
Honestly, I forget who got the bonuses. Let's just
So
go.
the next two winners got performance bonuses, and then Kattar and Holloway for fight of the night.
Oh yeah, I definitely think he should have got it. I think Soriano should have got it, but we'll get
I think they
into
could
it.
have thrown one extra 50K because he's the only guy with a finish that didn't get rewarded. Like, come on now.
Yeah, and he knocked out an undefeated fighter. I don't know.
Right, like,
Yeah,
come on now.
you know, I thought it was sick, and it just
But
visually was fucking just brutal. Like he has power.
I do get it from the sense of the next fights, like the perspective and magnitude of these fighters and the way their directions were going. Like this to me, the next fight, I'll go ahead and introduce it. Middleweight 185, Joaquin Buckley minus 300. Everyone knows him for the highlight KO of the year, Mortal Kombat kick. UFC is really trying to build this man's brand, trying their hardest. Versus Alessio Di Chirico at plus 240. Di Chirico's lost 3 in a row, lost to Kevin Holland. Essentially, this is his last fight in the UFC if he doesn't win it.
Yeah, I was super down on Di Chirico coming into this fight, and see this is going to be a big spoonful of shit I'm going to eat, because I actually like legit lost my friend real life dollars. I was like, put this in a parlay, absolute lock of the week. Like Buckley is going to. I texted Harrison before this fight, and I was like, I hope Buckley Ngano's this guy's head into fucking like space or some shit. I forget what I said, but and I was so balls deep on this lock that I mean, and so was Vegas. I mean, it was minus 300. I didn't think I was going out on a limb, but god damn it, I blasted this out as like my lock of the week, and I looked like I had to eat my shit.
So, yeah, DiChirico ended up KOing Buckley in 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 12 seconds is the official call time. A brutal head kick. Dan
Gorgeous
Hardy
head
had, I mean, yeah, gorgeous and brutal. Yeah, that's a great way to say it. But Dan Hardy had the call of the night when he said they showed the above camera shot of Buckley. You see his face roll up, and he's just stone faced. And Dan Hardy just is like, well, it looks like he looked into the eyes of Medusa. And I was like, damn, that's a good call, man. Like, that's a radio good call. You know what I mean?
That was poetic as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was a bar, for real. Like, that was a bar that Dan Hardy can freestyle low key. That was a bar. Man, no, that was no. And I said I thought Buckley was just gonna make short work of him. But I mean, if you think about it, if you've had this much film on Buckley, I mean, Buckley is a pretty much a one-trick. He's going to walk forward,
One-trick pony.
1, 2, rock him, sock him. He's just going to do this. And so, I mean, if you're a real fighter with a real coach and a real strategy and a real training camp from Buckley, I mean, it's not like I should have seen this coming, I guess is what I'm saying, because it's not like he was infallible or invincible or without flaws.
Well,
I mean,
it's like why did Kevin Holland knock him out? You know, because Kevin Holland's just a better overall fighter. You know, it's just like when he gets not I'm saying it's better overall fighters, but guys that aren't afraid of him.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it too. I think he's a real big into like the intimidation of the head games, and like he doesn't cut any weight. And I feel you. I mean, if you're a fighter, you should be cocky and badass and have swagger. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe do you think this was a situation where if they fight 10 times, Buckley wins 9 of them, and this was just DiChirico's night? Or do you think that like DiChirico just had 3 tough losses and he's on the comeback? Like, because I mean, what happened. Like in DiChirico. So you're saying DiChirico got one of the bonuses, and I mean, I think he deserved it. I'm not debating him.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
He 100% deserved it, and it was a gorgeous. I mean, a head kick knockout. A head kick knockout is enough to get you a bonus, even if you're the favorite. But a head kick knockout when you're a plus 240 underdog and everybody's riding this other dude's dick, I mean, that's even sweeter. That's even sweeter. I mean, I feel you. But yeah, like what do you take out of this, since there isn't all that much to actually break down? Like,
So I think the UFC re-signs DiChirico because they realize like he has potential. He's never been finished either. So like they know he's going to give at least like a good fight against someone. And I think for Buckley, I think they're confused on what to do with him. Like I think they want to build his brand, but they don't know like who to give him at this point. Because like DiChirico is like a top 20-ish.
That was supposed to be like a feather in the cap. Like that was supposed to be a notch in the belt for Buckley. Like I thought the UFC was actually
giving him a favor.
Yeah, like this was supposed to be throwing him a bone, and he choked on the.
It was supposed to get Buckley kind of up to a top 15 shot. I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. This was like a Buckley
and I think he choked on it. And so I don't know what they do with him. They got to float him, and I think here's what the UFC does, because they're not nice. They're going to give him someone that's going to test him next, and they're going to make him do better. They're going to put him as the underdog in the next fight.
Yeah, damn, yeah, because I mean, dog, we tried to give you, you were a huge fan.
They're like, we tried. Like,
you can't.
You got the KO, but like, you can't be like dropping fights against guys that we want, because they essentially wanted to get DiChirico out of the UFC as well.
If Buckley let out this tweet or this Instagram, I forget what it was, but it was like meant to be like humble and real, but it still came across as really whack to me, and this is why, because he said some shit like, even when I lose, it's still a finish. I just thought that was whack. Like he said that shit like it was supposed to be like tight as fuck, and I was like, "What? You got knocked out, though."
Like, bro, you got clean. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to like shit on him while he's down. I mean, I hope he bounces back and has a dope ass career. But like, I mean, honestly. Maybe the move for him, I mean, he said he walks in there like 182. He doesn't cut any weight. Like, is the move welterweight for Buckley? That could be fun or interesting. I mean, I don't know. Is that a little early to pull the trigger on? But I don't know. He's young. I think he can cut 12 pounds.
I think he needs to sharpen his striking a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing him take like 4 months off and like sharpen his skills.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean,
because like when you see Kevin Holland piece him up, And then you see DeShrico head kick him. It's like, bro, you just need to get a more refined striking game. Like, you don't need to just rush in like a bull every time.
Facts. So you never answered the question. Was this a fluke? Like, if they fight 10 times, does DeShrico, is this the only one he wins?
I think DeShrico wins 3 out of 10. And
Okay.
Buckley wins 7 out of 10. Like,
Okay.
I think Buckley definitely should win this fight. Still. But DeShrico caught him with a head kick.
On any given night, right? And they call it any given Sunday in football, but I mean, it applies to UFC probably more so than football.
Probably more so.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, I'll be real. Like I said, DeShrico, I know you probably not see this, but if you do, I take my big spoonful of shit and I eat it on air because dog, I don't know. You proved me wrong. You made me eat shit, and I don't know. I'm gonna acknowledge that I didn't.
Shout out to the Italians. I guess not this year especially, but in the last few events,
him and
Vettori and DeShrico.
Yeah, they're holding it down for sure, Paisans. But man, I know you were big on Ponzinibbio, so I'm gonna let
huge
you
on him.
introduce this next one.
Yeah, so the next fight's at welterweight. Santiago Ponzinibbio at -310 versus Li Jingliang, the Leech, at +250. I love that nickname. So I was real high on Ponzinibbio. He's beat guys like Neil Magny and like was on this huge tear in the UFC before he went under a bunch of before he got like some injuries and then had some like problems with like infections and then had to like, deal with a bunch of
scary.
Just terrible medical shit. For like 2 years. So haven't seen him fight in quite a while. But I liked him a lot in this fight against the Leech, and so did Vegas. He's more of a favorite than Buckley was.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Vegas has to get out their spoon and eat some shit alongside it.
Yeah, and so this fight was a bunch of feints to start the fight. Both guys like trying to find the opening they were going to strike at because you could tell both guys were looking to throw a bomb. And then Lee just, landed I guess it was a right and then a left that just absolutely slept Ponzinibbio. Like, huge left hook. Like, it was insane. So, and it was KO, right? Like, DeShrico's was a head kick, KO. This was a punch, left hook, KO. Like, Ponzinibbio was out.
So do you think this deserved the bonus over the Punahele Soriano knockout? Because that's kind of what I'm debating. Like, I definitely think DeShrico, deserves his. Do you think this one?
I don't know why they couldn't give one extra bonus. I think it's fucked up. They could have given 3 performances a night and a fight of the night. They've done that before.
Those cheap fucks. No, I feel you. They all deserved it.
That's why I wonder if Uncle Dana came through on the back end for old Soriano.
I guess if you're looking at strictly betting odds, Jangalang, that's what I'm gonna call it. Jangalang was a much bigger underdog. So I guess that's probably a valid argument as to why he deserved a bonus over if you have to only give that many.
Yeah, I think he was the biggest underdog to win on the card, right?
Plus 250 is pretty fucking big, yeah, man. And
biggest underdog to win.
I don't know. I'm not just I saw this one didn't surprise me as much. Obviously that seems like hindsight 2020. But what I'm saying is Ponzinibbio that long off, and a guy like Jalen is pretty active, and he's fought a lot of really good fighters, and he's lost to a lot of really good fighters. But But I'm saying,
good competition though, always.
Yeah, exactly. And then to fight a guy that's coming off all these health issues, like I don't know, I feel like he was like definitely like battle tested for sure. And then he's fighting a guy that's a little rusty. I thought that aspect of it gave him a chance. I mean, obviously, if they fight 10 times, who knows how many times he pulls it off. But I thought that factor alone gave him a chance.
I'm surprised they weren't cooler to Ponzinibbio because he does commentary for their Spanish broadcast side.
Yeah.
And I really thought, like, they kind of usually try to hook those guys up. Like, no, I'm lying. Felder got Hooker. Felder got RDA. Felder gets just fucking his ass whooped. Oh, Paulie Red Stash, dude. I'm lying my ass off.
Oh, man. But that's like there's something lovable about a guy that can take an ass whooping. You know what I'm saying?
He's always so game to go in there against guys that you just know are going to beat his ass.
Yeah, exactly. It's you got to love him for it, man. He's always game. He always calls out like super high level guys. Which I guess is cool because I mean, if he called out like a young wag prospect, it's like you
I
can't
mean,
shoot down, right?
right, yeah, and he's game as hell because if you think about it, think about the Hooker. I'll always reference this now because I know it's your favorite fight or what's the best fight. The Hooker Poirier fight, and then the Hooker Felder fight was also super fucking good. So if Felder's
That's
just that
right.
step below Hooker and Hooker's just that step below Poirier, Felder's not far off from Poirier.
No, or UFC math, phenomenal job there. A plus in your UFC math homework right there. But I will say this that, and I know it's off topic a little bit, but if it stays on the feet, man, Hooker's gonna give Chandler all he fucking wants, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Chandler better get that motherfucker on the mat. Like he fucking better, man.
I'm so hyped for that fight, man. I mean, 6 days.
Yeah,
6
right.
days.
Like it's whack because it's like we're jumping the gun because there's a fight in 2 days, but it's like that still should be like relevant conversation. But
Look, you got to get up at 5:45 in the morning for that fight. All right, let's not act like we're hype about it.
hey, I'm hot, bro. I'm as hot as I can be, bro. I'm gonna give me some coffee. I'm gonna be in my
Yeah, I'm gonna
drawers.
be drinking. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna be drinking coffee and not bourbon or White Claws with this fight
Yeah,
card.
right. I might be eating some eggs. This is a different vibe. I don't know, but man, we'll yeah, man. Li Jing Liang, aka Jangalang, looked phenomenal. Gets
Jangling,
the
keeps
bonus
jangling.
plus 250. Underdog. How is that not fun? You gotta love that. Two plus 240 or bigger underdogs in a row cashing. That's just good TV. That's a good time.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, like, that's good for selling in the market.
and then the next fight, we got the old heads, we got the OGs, we got the legends. You know, we got the in Carlos Condit's case, still going, and I mean they both look pretty good. But yeah, we got Carlos Condit minus 180 favorite versus Matt Brown plus 155 underdog, fighting at welterweight. This fight had been scheduled two different times, and I think since 2013 they've been trying to get this fight scheduled, and it's like fell through twice, I believe.
Damn. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. I just didn't realize it's been since 2013. That was what surprised me when you said it. I was like, damn, has it been 7 years?
Yeah,
I'm glad they finally got to make it. I'm tired of these guys that are this old fighting. I'm fucking tired of it, man.
really, I don't know. I think there's a place for it. Like it wasn't like a super shitty fight. Like the
We just,
ones, and
we
I don't
just,
mind when it's too. What I don't like is whenever like when Anderson Silva got wrecked by Uriah Hall, like that. I don't like watching that. But
I don't
this,
like that either.
I'm
But I
down for
mean,
this.
it was all right. I think Matt Brown should be. I think he should retire.
Yeah, no, and I think he probably does. But
I think Condit's fine. I think Condit's fine. Let me
yeah,
just speak. Let me speak honestly. I think Matt Brown needs to stop fighting. I
yeah,
think Carlos Condit's just fine. That's why I didn't like this fight.
I
It's
think
not that they're both old. It's that like Matt Brown's taken some huge damage,
yeah.
and it's just I'm just. I mean, he put up a good fight, but like, was it really a good fight? Did you give any rounds to him?
Yes, I did. I actually gave round one to Brown.
I did too. I'm glad that you agree.
Brown
I was trying to bait you into it.
Oh man, yeah. Brown was on social media trying to say that I think he won three, but
Stop it.
yeah,
Stop
I
it.
disagree strongly. Yeah.
I wrote Condit easily takes round three. I've watched that fight twice.
The crazy thing was, in that at the essentially the beginning of round one, they get into like this grappling exchange near the fence, and Matt Brown has like slices his face open on the fence. It wasn't even anything
It was
to do with the
crazy,
fight. Like
dude.
we never really see that happen, and it probably just because of all the scar tissue, right? Like
Yeah, that's what I'm
he
thinking.
was gonna bleed regard like. If it wasn't that, it would have been something else. I feel like you know what I'm saying.
Oh, that fence might have been like sharp or something, dude, because someone's back got really cut up as well when we were watching him
So, yeah,
fight.
sketch fence. I don't know, but I think so. So that set this like dramatic tone for the whole fight because he was bleeding, leaking everywhere, but like it
Yeah.
wasn't even due to really anything like intentional from Carlos Condit. I thought round two Condit's ground and pound was super impressive, especially because everybody was saying coming into this fight that Condit better keep it on the feet, and Brown's the one that wanted to make it nasty and ground and pound, and then but then Condit flipped the script on him and had landed some great ground and pound of his own.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought that round three was like pretty clearly Condit's as well. I don't know how Matt Brown thought he won
Me,
round three.
me neither, because Brown's gas tank was done, and Condit. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not saying Condit's gas tank was good, like compared to some young buck, but I mean, compared to Matt Brown's, he had much more left in the gas tank, and cardio wise, he was definitely doing much better in round three, and as I said, Condit's grappling looked great. I mean, or maybe Brown's looked bad. I don't know, but like I said, everybody came into this kind of giving Brown the edge, supposedly on paper on grappling, and Condit out grappled him most of the fight.
right. I agree. I agree. And honestly, if you look at the strikes in round one, Condit was striking the fuck out of Matt Brown from his back. So, like, all three judges end up scoring at 30-27.
Yeah. The judges gave all three rounds to Condit for sure. Which,
I'm not mad at it
yeah, I'm
because,
not
like,
dying
when
on
you
that
look
though
at
at all.
did you look at the strike numbers round one?
I didn't. I didn't.
I think it was 28-12 in favor of Condit.
28-12 in round
So
one.
even with all that ground control that Matt Brown had, he was like eating punches the whole time and giving none back.
Okay. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm not mad at that at all. I mean, Condit fought a
So,
great fight. Yeah, and
I mean, I agree with you. I scored it for Matt Brown in the first. We both scored it the same way, 29-28. But, like, I can see where the judges went 30-27.
and let's be real. If this fight's not on ABC, this isn't the co-main.
Right. I agree.
That was like an appeal to a different generation. You know what I'm saying? And which I'm not mad at. And I want I hope the UFC walks away from this ABC thing with like more new fans. Like I hope it was a success. I think it was. But man, yeah, enough time spent on the thing that we're not dying to talk about, because I've been dying to talk
Yes.
about this shit since it happened. And one of my favorite main event fights. I've favorite. I don't know. I don't know. It's easy to get caught up in the moment. I'll say this: one of the most jaw-dropping athletic
Impressive performances.
performances, and I'm saying athletic because I'm saying across sports. Like what we just witnessed was like watching Kobe's 81-point game or some shit.
It really might have been, though, huh?
He
It
broke
really
so
might,
many
like,
records.
and like, bro, whenever I will get to it, but like, whenever he, during the Browns game, yeah, well, they just happen to play every day in the early morning slot because they suck and they want to play in a small market. That's the point. No one gives a shit about Baker Mayfield. Tom Brady. Now, here's the point. Max Holloway, at one point, was dodging strikes, backing up, and screaming to the announcers, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC." He wasn't even focused on Calvin Kattar and just dodging. It was insane.
It was so insane. It he was like, everybody says, like, just throws out the term flow state, like it's like a kind of a catchy term to say when you're discussing MMA, and a lot of fighters claim that they can enter it or whatever. But no, that was fucking flow state. Like
Yeah,
he was somewhere else, man. Like I don't know if you've seen that movie Soul, like where like
I haven't yet.
the cartoon. All right, so there's this part, and I know strange connection, but like the new Disney movie Soul, like there's this place whenever like musicians happen to it, athletes happen to it. Like whenever you're just somewhere else, like you're just so in the zone that like you're just like floating. Like there's in the movie Soul, it says like your soul like goes to this other place in that moment. And like that's what that shit reminded me of. Like he was just like on this
Oh, that's
other
cool.
level, and just like I don't know, he put on like a god level performance, and and man, Max Holloway just the output, but it wasn't output for the sake of output. Like they were all like meaningful, like accurate strikes.
Like combinations, dude. Like
Insane. It was like you were just
throwing like
mashing the
five,
controller on a video
like
game.
right. That's what it really looked
Yeah.
like. And his movement was crazy. His like ability to dodge Calvin Kattar's 1-2s and like split the guard and like come with like his body shots were insanely effective. Like they were hurt. Those body shots were hurting Kattar. Let me ask, did you score the first 10-9 or?
Man, in the moment I did, but I was questioning if it should be 10-8 myself, like the whole like because after round two, because I did definitely gave round two a 10-8, like 100%,
Me too.
and then after I gave round two a 10-8, I was like, well, damn, was round one a 10-8 too? So I don't
I
know.
think it was a 10-9. I've watched that fight twice as well.
Oh,
I
okay,
think it was a 10-9.
okay.
But close. Close. Like that's as close as it gets to being a 10-8 while still not being.
Well,
Right? That's like the other way.
yeah, and I want to just talk about because we both when we were previewing this fight, we both were talking about like Kattar's boxing and Kattar's power and how that can like be the equalizing factor in all this. But like in a night where Holloway's offense is going to be like the talking point, his chin broke Kattar mentally because whenever Holloway was able to eat stiff shots from Kattar, that like shots that potentially hurt lesser fighters, I think Kattar knew right then and there because the only shot Kattar had coming into this fight was power, and it was to land a big shot. And then
Right,
what?
yeah.
And everybody pretty much knew that, but everybody was giving Kattar's power that much respect. Like, hey, this could easily happen. I mean, he was only a plus 135 underdog. Like, a lot of people thought that he could land the shot. But whenever Holloway proved that, like, that power wasn't shit and, like, it wasn't going to be a factor, he knew right then and there. And I'm not saying he quit because obviously he didn't. He put on one of the most gangster chin performances of all time. But I think, or maybe that was just me. That's whenever I knew. Whenever I saw Holloway eat a stiff one from Kattar, like it
And just
was,
look at him again, like, all right.
I was like,
I completely agree with you.
yeah,
Max is so game, man. Like he went up to 55 and fought Poirier and ate some of the craziest shots I've ever seen someone eat and not get dropped. And that's a good point to note because he's never been knocked down in the UFC.
yeah,
That's a crazy
knocked
stat, though.
down, never
That's a
knocked
crazy
down.
stat.
In his fighting, all the people that he's fought in some.
Aldo twice, Volkanovski twice, McGregor.
He's never been knocked down. Like it's one thing to never been knocked out. That's cool too. But like to never been knocked down, and yeah, and then
Anthony Pettis. Like he's fought legends only.
and I mean, Kattar's power was getting like legit respect from, and I know nobody's probably wants to go back and claim that now. But if you like watching all the shows leading up to, I mean, legit fight people, legit MMA people, legit boxing people, all were giving Kattar's power like, hey, his power is like the real deal. But Holloway just it did not faze him at all.
You know what I think is an important stat to note as well? Holloway landed at almost the same percentage as Kattar, but Holloway landed as many significant strikes as Kattar threw. Imagine that.
Yeah,
Kattar threw 290 strikes. Holloway landed 290 significant strikes. He threw over 700 total strikes.
yes, which is a record. Both of those numbers are records. The pace, like I said, it didn't seem like real. Like it seemed like a martial arts movie or something. Like
Bro, I mean, you're talking about the average 140 strikes a round, which comes down to be like 27 strikes a minute, which means a strike every 2 seconds is coming at you.
and
That's
it's
insane.
it's an important to note too that he was using all 8 limbs or all 8 weapons.
Bro,
Like,
the elbows he was laying in the second round, oh my God.
and that's what I wanted to note too. In the second round, Kattar was saved by the bell. Like,
Yes, he was about to get finished on the
if
cage.
that round was 10 seconds longer, that this fight does not go the distance. I mean, or maybe
That's
it does but I don't think so. Because I mean,
that's where we get the quote as 10-8 as it gets. That's that round.
yes, that because
Which totally makes sense. Like that you could have said 10-7. Honestly. Honestly.
bro, you could have said 10-7 because it was a 10-8 round.
Until the last segment where he starts beating his ass worse.
Exactly, bro. Like that was a 10-8 round, even if he wasn't saved by the bell. Like even if Kattar would have somehow managed to like escape and run around for that last 10 seconds. But you factor in this because sometimes the saved by the bell thing is enough to make it a 10-8, even on a less dominant round than that. Like I'm saying that was a 10-8 even without that. So you factor in, man, that could have very easily been a 10-7. And maybe a judge did score a 10-7 because I don't know, the math did you do the math on the final score? And I guess we'll
Yeah,
get
no,
to that.
I scored it the same as one of the judges who scored. So 50-43 times 2, and then 50-42 was one. I scored it 50-42.
54. And what is that? Is that 4 10-8s or is that 3 10-8s? Is that 3 10-8s?
3 10-8s. So I gave the first a 10-9, and I gave the third a 10-9. But I think the fourth and fifth were clearly 10-8s. The fourth, it's amazing that they didn't, one, throw the towel in as the corner, or B, that Herb Dean was loose as shit with it last night.
Loose
And like he
with
was
it.
close. He was close. He was yelling, "Calvin, defend yourself." And
But
then
he
Calvin
won.
did though.
No,
but he did. That was the crazy
and
part.
He would land.
He landed hard with a couple hooks.
Yes, like that's what was so crazy. I don't know, bro. Like, so first off, I want to say that I could not sit down. Like after the first round, I stood up the entire fight. Like I looked like a freaking cokehead. Like I was like just like freaking walking around like, oh my god, and like it was just the energy. It was so amazing. I couldn't sit down, and then also like. I did find myself kind of wanting Kattar's corner to throw in the towel. I got to be real. Maybe that makes
Near
me
the
a
end of the fourth, I
softie.
did.
Like,
No, it's just like he's young and really skilled, and he doesn't need to take this damage. Like he can't win that fight. He's throwing his best at him, and he's getting sapped by the body shots. Like Tyson Chartier, like you're one of my favorite coaches. Throw it, bro.
All right, I'm glad we're on the same page there. And I'll be real, and I want to kind of bring in the Holloway chin factor thing again. It's the weird thing where it wasn't in a weird way. I know this is going to sound like it doesn't make sense, but like it wasn't Holloway's offense that made me want to throw in the towel. It was the fact that he would
eat the shots and also dodge so many of them.
Yeah,
and Kattar didn't throw that. I mean, Kattar threw fucking 60 strikes around. That's a lot for most fighters, but not in this fight. It was nothing.
Holloway had proven time and time and time again that he could eat Kattar's best shot. So when you're down 4 rounds to nothing, you're literally, they call it like a puncher's chance. Like it's a praying for a knockout. You're finish hunting, and that wasn't going to happen. Like if he could eat your punches in round 1, he can definitely eat these punches when you're half dead.
Right.
And so they said it was like Holloway's chin more so than Holloway's offense that made me want to like throw in the towel. They said, yeah, I think DC was right there with us. Like, man, that 4th and 5th round was tough to watch. I mean, it was just so one-sided.
The 4th especially. The 4th, I mean, he was just literally beating the shit out of him. I wrote the fact that Kattar was still standing was wild.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, and it's nothing we're saying needs to be taken as slights towards Kattar, because this is one of those situations. I don't care who was standing across from Holloway that night.
Yeah, he was going to beat the fuck out of him.
Like, and I'll even throw Volkanovski in there. Like, seriously, like that barrage, that weight class, like, there was no answers to it, bro. It's like, and I want to say, like, it's like in team sports, like in football or basketball, like if a team's losing by 40 points, you put in backups.
Yeah. You take the foot off the gas. Holloway did not do that.
Well, or even the team getting beat takes out their starters to prevent like injury.
Yeah.
The nature of MMA, it's 1 versus 1. That's not an option. Like I was like, send in the stunt double, dog.
Dude, it was crazy. And like, so did you score it 10-9 first, 10-8 second, 10-9 third, 10-8 fourth?
Sure, I'll be real. I was so like
you'd agree though with those scores?
I agree with it. It was just so obvious and such ass whooping, like in the moment when I was taking my notes, and I was just so like.
So do you think the 5th was a 10-8?
Dude, like honestly, like I guess I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on the first, saying that the first is not, but any of the other ones easily could have been, and like I'm not.
You think even the 3rd?
Bro,
I think the 3rd was 10-9, but I don't think it was 10-8. I think that was the only one where Kattar has a defense to say it's not 10-8.
Like, sure. Like I said, I'm not gonna. It was so one-sided, and like it's just like I don't know. Like I wasn't. I was caught up in the moment and just looking at just this ass whooping and like the volume, the record setting volume.
And how good Holloway was doing
It,
it. Like the
it, it,
fact that he was talking to the commentators while he was fighting.
yeah, all of that, and like I was like actually worried for Kattar, and like I'm like, well, like I don't know, bro. Like, I just was like let the numbers fall as they lie on this particular ass whooping because it just was such a dominant performance. Like I said, you could let the numbers fall how they lie is how I felt about it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was just it's like I don't know in some game where Patrick Mahomes throws for 600 yards, like how many points did they win by? Like I don't know. Did they win by 21, 35? I don't fucking know. But Mahomes was amazing. Like that's how I feel about that. Like
Dude, like
I can't tell you how many points the Lakers won by in Kobe's 81-point game, but I can tell you Kobe scored 81. Like that's how I felt watching Max Holloway's performance last night.
so yeah, I have a couple buddies that like have gotten more interested in the UFC since we've been doing this just because, talk about it so much. They watch the show, stuff like that.
That's
Shout out to
dope.
them.
Shout out to them. Yeah.
Shout out to Aaron Robinson. But probably should say his last name. Anyway, point being, that's a common name. That's a super common name. You'll never find him. Anyway, point being, he texted me after the Max Holloway fight, and he was like, "Damn, Max Holloway looks great." And I was like, "Dude, he looks like a man on fire." And he was like, he texted me and said it might be the best performance he's seen in the UFC over 5 rounds.
I mean, he's not alone, man. I mean, like, and then the thing about this one though, that and certain people value numbers more than others, and like I think that's where the split among MMA fans is gonna come. But the numbers back it up as far as like he broke like I think like 8 total records last night, and they were
Yeah,
all
like I think the eye test didn't lie, and the numbers are right there to solidify that.
yeah. Now, what I want to push back on against like a narrative that I've been hearing and seeing. This was not a great fight. This was a great performance.
No, this was not a fight of the year contender. This was an ass
No,
whooping.
this was an absolute savage slaughterhouse, like just ass whooping. Exactly. Um, I've been hearing that narrative on different podcasts and shows and post game analysis and all that shit saying, "Oh, fight of the year in January." No, performance of the year in January.
Yes, perhaps.
Perhaps. Chin of the Beefy Boys chin of the year in January?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think that's a high potential year.
Yeah. No, exactly. But fight of the year or even like I somewhat even have a problem with them even I mean I guess Kattar deserves the 50K for taking that, but I'm
For
just
taking
saying
that ass whooping, yeah.
like if you're trying to be stone cold honest about it, they could have not done a fight of the night and given the other to the other bonus to Soriano than just done 4 performance of the nights. But I'm
Yeah,
saying
honestly.
I'm glad Kattar got the 50K like man to man, like you know what I'm saying.
Dude,
But I'm
well,
just saying as far as deserving, I don't know.
after the fight, whenever they were interviewing Max Holloway, one of the things he said is he was like, Calvin, we got that 50K, baby. That's what's up. And I was like, that's hilarious. Like Max Holloway is so real at all times, and like poor Calvin fucking Kattar, dude. Like his post fight speech was super real though too. He was like, because John
Yes,
Anik
I
was like,
loved it.
man, they
I
thought about
loved it.
waving it off in the 4th. Like, what do you think? And he was like, man, I'm not taking a knee for anybody, not even Max Holloway, but also those people out there that don't like Max Holloway. If you don't like him, you're just a hater. And I
Yes.
was like, yes, that's the most real post fight. For getting your ass whooped like that, to
Yeah.
have those words to say, like, shout out to Calvin Kattar.
No, that was the dopest moment, and that's what makes me and I'm sure many other UFC fans out there fall in love with the sport, man. As much as we love the knockouts, and as much as we love the performances and the violence and the chaos. It's these like at least I can say for me, I like hearing shit like that, like in this fucked up world we live in, men of that high level of character and integrity, like dog, like you don't get to see that shit every day in this fucked up society we live in. Like that shit is gold and rare. And it's not I'm saying the UFC is the only sport that provides that, but just like I said, that level of just honesty, integrity,
And humility.
humility in this society in 2021 in this world, like like to me, that's like half of the reason why I tune in. And what's made me just kind of just dive head first and fall so much in love with this sport and just like guys so respectable, man. It's just like yeah.
I mean, it does present like a high system of values because you have to respect your opponent's abilities at all times because at any 1 second they could end your night. And that's what we always talk about is so different with this sport than baseball or football or really any other sport is that like you don't get that opportunity like that, you know? Like other sports, it's scored and it takes a long time and you play over this set amount of time, whereas like mixed martial arts, it could be stopped at any time.
And there is nothing really to point the finger at. Like, and I mean, I'm not gonna say no names, but I've been on teams like, because I was a former football player, where our defense was fucking sick, like top of the conference, whatever, in all stats. But we had a losing record because like we didn't have a quarterback. Our offense couldn't, do shit. And
Yeah.
and in a sport like football, you can do that. You can point fingers, you can blame, or you can blame the refs, or there's a lot of finger blaming. You can blame the coaches, even though them plays calls were bullshit. Like football's a sport, and football players are notorious for it of just like excuse making. There's a lot of like people you can blame whenever you lose. I did it myself. I'm not.
I mean, you're more like a chess piece than the chess player because, the coaches are playing chess with the pieces if you really look at the game of football.
But fighters and that humility in fighters comes from like when you do take an L, like there's nobody there but a mirror. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you do have
Yeah.
a coach, but you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah,
think
like,
fighters that
yeah.
blame coaches are kind of whack. Like I mean, I'm sure there's some scenarios out there where coaches fuck up, but
Mike Perry?
guys that I mean, and sometimes you got to improve your training camp. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying guys that like literally blame a coach for like their bad performance or their loss. I don't know about that. In a sport like fighting, it's just so mono y
Tough
mono.
to say.
Yeah, and I think that's where that humility and that honesty in fighters comes from. Because I mean, you can't really lie and say like, "Oh, this happened," because there's so many angles and replays. It's just like there's no.
Especially if the UFC has validated your skill set by their own standards to be in the UFC. Like, clearly they think that you have what it takes. So don't say that your coach is the reason you couldn't perform, like, when the UFC has already validated your skill set. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
evaluated.
and that's kind of a point Max Holloway is kind of making after the fight. He kind of came across a little more arrogant, but the spirit of what he was saying was dope because he was saying, like, I mean, Calvin was in there with me. Like, you don't get in there with me if you're not, like, super good. But he said it in kind of a different way. It was kind of flexing, but I feel he should do that. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like the point he was making was still valid. Like Calvin Kattar is not like bad at what he does. He's still one of the best in the division.
It's a great
Uh,
point. It's a
like
great point, honestly.
yeah, and Dana's proven this with guys like Ngannou, like where there is as much of a scumbag and stuff he can be. There is still somewhat of like an ethics to his match or to their matchmaking. I know there's other, but all the matchmakers at the UFC, there's like ethics to it where they don't think that they won't put a guy in there that they don't think can defend himself. Like that's,
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
they've proven that. Like, and I know it's a different with a guy like Ngannou, but I'm saying like they wouldn't like. Cater is top notch, and he deserved to be in there with them. And it just was he was on the wrong end of an all time performance, and just an
Right, and that's all it is. Like Vegas obviously agreed with us coming into it. Plus 135, minus 160. Those aren't huge favorite odds for Max Holloway. Like you're not even talking a 2-1 favorite at that point. You're talking like like a 3-2 favorite. That's not that big of a favorite in any race.
Holloway just caught fire in a way that like it reminds me more of other sports like than it does
Like
of
Kobe with
fighting.
the 81. Like you're
Or
right.
like a pitcher throwing a no hitter, or you know what I'm saying? It's just like that was just your night where
Right.
it didn't matter who stepped up to the plate or who was guarding MJ or Kobe, or like just one of those virtuoso performances that
Cormier said it, though. He referenced it really well whenever he was like, MJ just went down and shot 6 threes in a row and hit them all and said, I don't even know.
yeah, like
Sometimes you're just so in the zone and you're such a good like athlete in your sport that you reach this level that's all time, like you're saying.
like I'll say this: if they run it back, like video game style, if you do that fight 10 times, like I don't know if Max Holloway I'm not saying he doesn't win 10 times. I'm not even talking wins and losses. I'm talking about that performance, like that like level of just like insanity that we witnessed. I don't think that can be replicated. Like that
I
was
feel like
the
that was a one of one.
yes, like that was just this moment in time where shit
Like
was
stars aligned and like he
yeah,
hit a new level.
a new level for sure. And I'm not saying that in like the corny level way where like everybody like every fighter likes to say, oh, there's levels. Like no, I'm talking about just like I said, that virtuoso performance. Like it's hard to find a fight comp to compare it to, and I'm sure there's one out there. But I'm just saying, like to me, it reminds me more of just like of other sports. Like I said, a pitcher throwing a no hitter, the Kobe 81, I'm sure Tiger Woods. I'm not the biggest golf fan, but
Oh, the Tiger Slam or the U.S. Open where he won by 18 strokes.
just those
That would be
virtuoso once in a lifetime, essentially, just those moment of time where everything goes right. Um, Yeah, man, I don't know. It was one of the best sporting feats I feel like I've witnessed, and
yeah.
like just performances. Like I said, it's hard to. It's that weird, rare kind of performance where it's hard to even kind of view it through a MMA, UFC lens. It kind of does that. It just makes me think of other sports. It just that's how great it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal, man. It like I'm so happy it was on UFC, ABC. I'm so happy it was on ABC. Like
Yeah,
I'm so happy people got to see that performance, that level.
yeah, for sure. I'll be real. I think as far as like the new fan angle, like that was pretty brutal. Like that was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it
like
was
I
an
said,
ass
I
whooping.
mean, I watch all these fights and I was sitting there wanting to throw in the towel. So I can only imagine how maybe like some moms in like Iowa might be feeling of like when their 8-year-old kid is watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I feel I
Yeah,
think it was a great fight and I think
and it was
UFC
a
gained
bloody
some things.
scrap too. You know, like it was the carnage was pretty brutal in that fight as well.
And like I said, we talked about Herb Dean's like loose trigger last night. He picked a hell of a night to have a loose
Yeah, like
trigger.
ABC, bro, national TV with like kids in the
Not the
audience
pay
or
per
kids
views
can
that are
watch. Like,
exclusively being watched by drunk adults.
right, yeah, that paid money explicitly for whatever content the UFC would like to produce. No, no, no.
Yeah,
Let's do it on ABC.
on ABC. Yeah, no, that was interesting. That was interesting. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. Cater, hats off to Cater, man. The storyline and the narrative, and deservingly so, is all about Holloway. But I mean, it takes two to tango. I personally like if I could run it back and be the puppet master, I would love to just add like 5 more seconds to the end of round two, and that fight ends right then and there. It's still a badass win for Holloway. He
But
still
then you don't
says,
get to see that level that he hits. Like I feel like in the fourth and fifth, he hit a whole different
"No, you're
level.
right. He did when he was talking and doing the Muhammad Ali shit."
I think exactly how that fight happened is exactly how we wanted it to happen.
No, I feel you. It was absolutely insane to watch. I was smiling ear to ear. Like I said, I was standing up. Had my hands on my head. I was just like, it was one of those sporty moments that just made me lose my mind for real. And yeah, I mean, it was so much fun. Like I said, I was watching it. It was really. I'm on the West Coast, so I was watching it. I mean, at that point, it was like
What time was
two.
that for you? Like 2:30?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's a
Yeah,
perfect time.
like I stayed and watched it. And I drove back from Tahoe to San Jose after the fights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then, like I said, so Wednesday there's more fights,
Yeah.
and as Harrison said, the prelims start at 6 a.m. on the West Coast, and your boy's getting up to watch them. I
Yes,
fuck with it.
sir.
I'm actually excited to do it. I really am. And so I guess
I kind of am too, man. Like getting up at like 7:30, getting some coffee going, maybe making some eggs and bacon, and then sitting down watching fights in the morning. Like it's gonna be nice.
yeah, and it's just unique. It's cool. I don't know. I like trying different things, and so yeah, I'm open for it. I mean, I would not want every card to start at 6 a.m., but this kind
No.
of just one off Fight Island, sure, fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
It's like kind of like when the Olympics are in like we're in China, you Russia, you have to watch it at weird times. But
And this card's for the residents of Abu Dhabi. Like it starts at 6 p.m. their time. So like they'll get a card that's done before midnight, which they deserve. Like
yeah,
this
they've been
card for anyone
doing
that doesn't realize ended at 3 a.m. their time.
yeah,
So
and they've been doing all the accommodations to fit our time. So no, totally. Like I said, I'm down for this. I said I'm gonna wake up and watch it. And yeah, we'll have another Beefy Boys. That'll be Beefy Boys 32. We'll do it on, I guess, Thursday morning.
Yes, sir. Neil Magny, Michael Chiesa.
Yep,
We're
yep.
breaking it down.
Yeah, we'll be breaking it
Also,
down.
Amari Akhmedov and his opponent got scratched from this. Tom Breese. Amari Akhmedov, Tom Breese got scratched from this card, moved to that card. So that's a good fight to look forward to there
Oh,
as well.
dope. Hell yeah. All right, cool. I thought you meant it got scratched altogether, but no, all right, that's cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked on that. And then UFC 257 on Saturday. This is just an insane week of fights. I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. There's going to be a Beefy Boys for everyone. Yeah, and this is the Beefy Boys breakdown. It's just we want to just form a community of people that love watching fights as much as we do. That's really
Yeah,
what this is
honestly.
about. And people want to chime in and comment and watch live and leave comments on YouTube. We just love engaging with other fight fans that enjoy the sport as much as we do. And that's really all we are, is just two guys that love the sport, you know, and we enjoy talking about it, and we love talking about it with y'all if y'all want to reach out and engage with us. So yeah, subscribe on YouTube. And you can find the audio anywhere where you listen to audio podcasts. And yeah, we'll have a Beefy Boys for every single card. And
Yes,
no,
sir.
man,
At Beefy Breakdown on Twitter if you ever want to see us live score cards. We do
yep.
that quite often.
Yeah, man, I'm at Dreadful Talk Dom on Instagram, and he's at Harrison_Madden on Instagram. And yeah, thanks for being a part of this, everybody. This was Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 31, first one of 2021. And we'll have two more this week. So yeah, every fight fans, buckle up. And shout out to everybody that supports Beefy Boys Breakdown.
See you guys.